Thank you to the Manufacturers Alliance of the Development Corporation of Anderson County, supported wholly and wonderfully by Anderson County Council. Their attitude toward positive, creative economic development and their steadfast support of that has created a great atmosphere in Anderson County, great atmosphere of growth. We've gone from county's average wage in 2008, a little under $14 to $19.14 an hour, according to the South Carolina Department of Commerce. We have Amy Thompson with us, who's the Director of International Strategy and Trade.
I tell you, I'm so impressed at seeing the turnout here. It speaks a lot for the leadership of Anderson County and our friends at Anderson County Economic Development. So we are basically the international outreach arm of commerce. So we go out and beat the bushes to drum up interest and really educate international companies about South Carolina. We organize missions and participate in international trade shows. And Anita will talk to you about the trade component of that, but sometimes we will take existing industry with us, and she'll talk about the funding that's available to help companies showcase their company on an international stage. We just went to Arab Health, and we had 4 companies with us. And they're our best ambassadors. You all are our best ambassadors when we bring international visitors in, because you can tell the story of what it's like to do business in South Carolina, and hopefully you have a good story to tell. We will engage the community in training on international protocol and etiquette, and I'll give you an example. Samsung came to Newberry a couple of years ago, and their leadership really wanted to understand the Korean culture. So Clark put together a panel, and it was actually Korea, Japan, and China, because they were starting to see some investment flow from those countries. And you had everyone from, people from the fire district, police officers, county council, and we really want to take that into each community, because as we see more influx of international companies, we want to welcome them. And we want them to understand how to acclimate to the culture here. And it's wonderful to see communities embrace them. It's very important. And if they get started off on the right foot, they'll stay in the community and prosper for a very long time. And we've seen that a lot in the upstate. So we have offices overseas. We have an office in China and Japan and Korea and India. Germany, we have had an office in Europe for 40 years, which really has boded well for our state. We'll have International Week in April, and we bring all of the staff from our international offices over for 1 week, and we do a road tour of South Carolina. And we really want them to understand the state and see as much. Unfortunately, there's not enough time in the week, so we have to rotate around each year. But each alliance will present to them, and they really get a kind of what makes your area strong and what's the flavor of this area. One of the things we also want to focus on, we're kind of rebooting this initiative, is working with existing industry. So a Japanese firm that's in South Carolina, we want to meet with that parent company and really let them know how much we appreciate them investing in our state, and having that good communication line open, because companies have issues, and we want to make sure that we are engaged with the headquarters in each country where we have offices. We work very closely with the federal government. Really started with the Bush administration. They started a Select USA component, so it's not only trade, but they're trying to get investment, foreign direct investment into the United States. So each embassy in most of the major markets has a Select USA person overseas, and when they get leads, they reach out to us, and it's another way of us generating contacts. And then we also have inbound delegations. These are really done on an ad hoc basis. We'll get a word that a delegation from Ireland is interested in visiting our state, and so we'll host them and try to assess what their needs are, and we'll bring them throughout the state to meet with local industry and leaders. We also have a landing pad program, and this is really more for companies that aren't quite, they know they want to come to the U.S., but they need to do some marketing, they need to develop the business. So we work with our alliances to help them find a place. It typically starts with, 2 or 3 people as a sales office. And the intent is that they will grow their U.S. market and set up a manufacturing operation. We do a Select USA show in Washington, and they bring in inbound delegations, and then we'll do a spinoff. And last year we did automotive in the upstate. This year we're going to do agricultural. So we'll take companies that are visiting Washington, D.C. and show them the ag and food processing sector in our state. We're getting a lot of interest from China. And so we have a project manager in our agency, Wally Wang, and he works with our China office. But that really kind of coincides with that protocol effort and these international firms, especially from Asia, that have never done business in the United States. We really want them to understand the culture, business practices, legal issues of human resources, what you can and cannot ask when you're conducting an interview, nuances that we just take for granted that are so very foreign to these companies. We want them to start on the right foot and have a good reputation in their community. And in spite of all that's going on in the political arena, I can tell you that when we go overseas, people still want to do business with the United States. They want to be in this market. They love our way of doing business, and we're successful and entrepreneurship, and they respect us.
So 2017 snapshot, we exported about $32 billion worth of product. As of November of 2018, we're at $31.8 billion. So we do expect to not only hit the 32 mark, but probably exceed it. So from a trade aspect, we're doing quite well. We rank 16th. We're the #1 exporter of vehicles as well as tires in South Carolina. We hope to continue to say that for 2018 numbers that come out. We manage the trade side and the export side. We really don't touch imports. But just a snapshot on that, $30.7 billion is our import into South Carolina. 32 is our export out of 2017. So we do pretty well in terms of how much we bring in and how much we take back out. My role is to help small to medium-sized companies in this state. So large companies don't need our assistance. If they do from a trade aspect, happy to help. But my focus day in, day out is to go see small companies to say, okay, what are you doing internationally? What do you want to be doing internationally? What are some of your challenges that you face? And how do we help you get to where you need to be? My philosophy personally is you got to be diversified. You got to have eggs in different baskets, domestically, locally, as well as internationally. And so that's where we come in to support you. So counseling is the first thing we do. So we sit down with you and say, okay, how can we help you? What are some of your challenges? And help you navigate that process. We bring in our county folks with us as well. We want them to understand what you're doing internationally. We bring in our existing industry team as well. We also do training. So yesterday we did a workshop in Colombia on how do you classify your product. So with the new tariffs taking place, everybody's saying, well, am I getting hit with that 25% coming out of China? Did I classify my product correctly? Should it really affect me, or can I classify it in a different way? This number doesn't change, so it's basically kind of like a social security number for your product. So we put on training programs like this specifically for exporting. We do the basics of exporting, so an Export 101 for those companies that are new to the process. And we do more technical workshops for those that are seasoned exporters who need that next level or have those staff members that need to get updated on what the new regulations are. We also do missions and trade shows. Amy talked about that a little bit. So our goal is to put companies on planes. So we take a handful of companies on specific trips that we manage, and we help set up appointments for you on the ground. So we do 2 different types. So we do a trade mission, which is a traditional format where we go into a particular market. We will set up customized meetings for you on the ground with the right people you need to meet with. So whether it be an end user, a distributor, or a partner, we want to put you in front of those people. We do a screening process prior with our team on the ground to make sure it's a right fit. We will never put a company on a plane unless we can guarantee good meetings. We can never guarantee sales, but we can guarantee good meetings. We also do trade shows. So we just came back at the end of the month from Arab Health. This is the first time the state has ever exhibited at that show. It's the first time from a trade aspect as well as from an investment aspect. And so the goal here was to take a handful of companies with us to let them showcase their product in the medical field, specifically for the Middle East and the Asia market. And I'm proud to say 2 of those companies were right here from Anderson County. All 4 are from the upstate. Each company had about 30-plus meetings. So what we do is we manage the booth, we set up the booth, we set up their kiosks, we ship all their product to the show, we help them set up meetings, get them contacts with all the international teams that are there. Their job is to show up and sell. And then what we look for from the companies is your sales. We want to know how you did, whether or not that's beneficial. So we're kind of in the process of gathering that now. Our goal is to continue to support the medical sector. They increase their sales, they create jobs here, they create investment back in their county and into the state. Just from a perspective, I talked about $32 billion in exports. You can see the trend that we've had. Investment does drive this, so when a company comes, an international firm, to our state, they know they're exporting, they know that this is another way to get into other markets, so that's a huge driver as well as the domestic side. I will say a large amount of our exports out of our state, dollar value-wise, is the big companies, the Boeings, the BMWs, but the number of companies in our state that export are small to medium size. So if you travel on any of our missions, the full cost of your meetings are covered. And we give you a travel stipend of $3,500 to go with us. If you go to a trade show that is a commerce-led trade show, we don't do many, we do 2 or 3 a year, we will take care of all the booth cost for you, and we give you $2,000 in travel. If it's a trade show that we are not going to and you would like to go to on your own because it fits your industry, we want to support you in those efforts. It just has to be in another country. We will give you $6,000 to travel, or $6,000 for the booth, and then $2,000 in travel as part of that. And then there's different things that you can add on. You can add on website assistance, you can add on translation of materials, you can add on the training. So the whole goal here is to give you the full package, right? We not only want to put you on the plane, we want to give you all the tools to be able to sell properly in that market. And we will coach you along the way. We typically work with about 50 companies underneath the federal program. We only have $300,000 on a federal level, $125,000 on the state level. Average company gets about $10,000, a little more, depending on the scenario. So 53 companies participated in the program, $54 million reported back in sales. So that's what I mean when companies have to report their sales back. We don't share your individual numbers. We accumulate it with everyone else, and that's what we spit back out. So we got $500,000 in funds. This is what we turned it into. This is my ammo to go back to the state and defense. Say, here's what we've done. Here's how many jobs we've created out of it. Here's how many new markets these companies have entered.
Thank you, Amy and Anita. Great job. Thank you. Call them. They have money. Thank you.